All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something that's quietly becoming a massive part of our work lives, whether we realize it or not, and that's workplace surveillance. Honestly, if you're heading into the professional world, this is a conversation you've got to be in on. So let me just ask you, straight up, how would you feel if your employer was monitoring every single keystroke you make, every click, every word you type, maybe even tracking your location? And look, this isn't some far-off sci-fi scenario. For a whole lot of people, this is the reality of work right now. Okay, so let's get on the same page. Before we can really get into the weeds of whether this is right or wrong, we need to be super clear on what workplace monitoring actually is. What does it look like in the real world? Well, at its heart, it's basically using tech to keep tabs on employees. Now, the official line is usually something like, oh, we're just improving efficiency, or it's for security. But what's really happening is that it's creating this, incredibly detailed digital profile of everything you do at work. And the ways they do this, wow, it's a huge spectrum. We're talking about everything from keystroke logging, which captures every single thing you type, to GPS tracking on company cars, or even your work laptop when you take it home. Then you've got time management software that snaps screenshots of your desktop at random intervals. And of course, the big one, monitoring your emails and all your chat messages. The scope is just massive. So you might be wondering, why on earth would companies do this? Well, this chart here lays out the main reasons. A huge driver is preventing theft. And that's not a small problem. We're talking about something that costs U.S. businesses an estimated $50 billion a year. That's a B. Then, of course, there's making sure people are productive, especially now with so much remote work. And finally, it's about staying on the right side of the law by monitoring for compliance. And this right here is where we get to the absolute heart of the issue. There is a massive, and I mean massive, canyon between what a company is legally allowed to do and what is ethically the right thing to do. This is where things get really interesting. Yeah, check out this quote from legal expert Matt C. Pinsker, because it just nails the legal reality. As a general rule, employees have little expectation of privacy while on company grounds or using company equipment. Basically, the second you step on company property or log onto a company laptop, your right to privacy, it just shrinks. That is a critical idea to get your head around. The main law that covers all this at the federal level is called the ECPA, the Electronic Communications Privacy Act. And you're not going to believe this, it was passed in 1986. 1986. Just think about the tech we had then. It's ancient. So this old law gives employers a ton of leeway. They can monitor you for any legitimate business reason. And they can do even more if you consent. Which, let's be real, is usually buried in the paperwork you have to sign to get the job in the first place. Okay, so the federal law is pretty wide open, but things are a little different depending on what state you're in. A couple of states, like Connecticut and New York, have what are called notice laws. They basically say your employer has to at least tell you in writing that they're watching. And then you have places like California or Florida, where state constitutions have stronger privacy rights that can give you a bit more cover. But big picture, the law generally sides with the employer. So here it is, the big question. Just because it's legal, does that make it ethical? The law says go for it, but that doesn't tell us if it's the right thing to do. And this is where we shift gears from what's legal to what's moral. All right, let's talk about the tech itself, because there's a whole category of this stuff that's so invasive, it's earned its own creepy nickname, bossware. And we really need to dig into what this means.
So what is bossware? Well, it's pretty much what it sounds like. It's software that's like a digital manager who is always looking over your shoulder. And the key thing to know is that it's designed to be always on, and it often runs in the background. It's stealthy. You might not even have a clue it's there, logging every single thing you do.
And you might be thinking, oh, that's probably just for a few really intense companies. No. A survey by VMware found that a whopping 70% of businesses around the world are already using these tools or they're planning to install them. This isn't a fringe issue anymore. It's going mainstream, and it's happening fast. But here's where it gets really paradoxical. You'd think all this monitoring would make people work harder and follow the rules, right? Well,
Fascinating research from the Harvard Business Review found it can do the exact opposite. Heavily monitored employees, they're actually more likely to disengage from their work. They take more unapproved breaks. And get this, they sometimes break more rules. It just creates this atmosphere of total distrust and anxiety, which is just poison for a good work environment.
Okay, now this is really important, especially for those of you working on your Module 7 assignment. We can use these classic ethical frameworks to break down a practice like keystroke logging. So take utilitarianism. It asks, does the good for the company outweigh the psychological damage to the employees? The answer is probably no. Or think about deontology. It asks if you're treating people as people or just as tools to get a job done. This kind of monitoring, it really risks violating their basic dignity. And then with virtue ethics, you ask, what kind of character does this show? Is it respectful and fair? Or is it all about control and mistrust?
And look, this isn't just theory. This isn't just an essay question. One day, you are going to be the manager. This decision, to use these tools or not, it's going to be on your desk. And it's a tough one, balancing that constant pressure for productivity with your duty to the people who work for you.
So if a company is going to do this, is there an ethical way to do it? Well, the consensus points to a few core principles. First, be transparent. Be crystal clear about what you're monitoring and why. Second, track only what's essential. Use the least invasive tool for the job. Third, communicate. Let people see the data you're collecting on them. And fourth, protect that data. I mean, lock it down with serious security and have clear rules about how long you keep it. And this isn't some impossible dream. Check out this number, 61%. That's from a study by Perfusion. It's the percentage of employees who said they're actually okay with being monitored, but, and this is a huge but, only if the data is used to support them fairly and transparently, not to play gotcha. It proves that how you do it is maybe even more important than if you do. You know, the technology here is just moving at an incredible pace. It's advancing so fast. But our ethics, our laws, our gut feeling for what's right and wrong, we have to evolve even faster just to keep from being left in the dust. So we're going to end this explainer not with a neat and tidy answer, but with a question that's all for you. Because as a future leader, as a future manager, this choice is going to be yours. You're the one who's going to decide what kind of workplace culture you create. So the real question is, how will you decide?